Hello, I'm Cassidy Amber Chapman, and this is my Digital Nomad Story Season 2. And this series is really with the intention that you are able to walk away knowing that no matter what is on your heart that you feel called to do, that you can do it. And especially if that calling is being a digital nomad, I'm just sharing my stories so that you can see yourself in them if that's what you want. So Amsterdam was actually one of the most incredible trips of my life, and I think I say that a lot, but it has blown me away. I really have this feeling that whenever I have been feeling called to Amsterdam for a very long time. I was supposed to be in Amsterdam, I think 2 years in a row, but it didn't end up working out. And I always find that when I feel called to a place and it doesn't work out, I feel called to a place and it doesn't work out, that the time that I actually go is going to be beyond my wildest imagination. And I really do feel that Amsterdam has been beyond my wildest imagination. Amsterdam itself gives me the vibe of Boston in Europe. It's everyone speaks English. I really did not expect. I was a bit nervous because the only second language that I can sometimes do is Spanish, and I don't know how to get around Dutch or German. I don't have any words in either of these languages, so I was really worried. However, Amsterdam is a very expat and digital nomad friendly place, so it was very English based, and I didn't even feel like I was in another country. I mean, I did, but at the same time, I felt very comfortable, like I didn't have to. I don't know. I didn't have to really think about the language barrier at all, which was surprising to me. And I had the opportunity to stay with a friend. Now, this friend I love her so much. We met online. Yes, you're going to hear throughout many of these stories that either I have a client or a friend I met online, and we end up seeing each other in person on my many adventures around the world, and it happens a lot. Now, I'm very grateful for this friend because we were accountability buddies in a personal development course that we were taking together, and we were writing out our lives' visions and really holding each other accountable to taking steps in that direction. And so I was really excited because I knew we were going to mastermind a little bit. I also knew that we are such good travel buddies, and I was really excited to be in her space. So she has a house here, and she's lived here for the past 7 years. And I was really excited to be with, a local, someone who's lived here for a very long time to show me around, because that's always my favorite part. I love being in countries when there's a local to show me around. Well, a little background on our story is we met online, and then after, when I was going on to the Croatia trip on a yacht, I was so excited about it. I was telling her about it on one of our calls, and she said, "Oh my God, I want to come." And I was a bit surprised because not everyone has the financial backing to be able to do that. And so I was super excited to be able to see her in person in Croatia. So the first time we met in person was on the yacht in Croatia. And then after we went, she visited me in Boston. And so I showed her around Boston, and then we went to Maine together in an RV, which was really fun. I actually should make a video about Maine. But we took an RV to Maine. And then after that, now I'm here. I was here not here. I was in Amsterdam to visit her. So it was like we always see each other in a new place. And I think it's just so cool to have friendships like this. Now, staying at her place was amazing. I walked in and I felt so fancy because she is a interior decorator of the century, and everything was just so beautiful. I loved the space, and you can tell the intention, the energy that she put into it, and I knew that it was just a really beautiful time for us to be able to spend together. And for me, I have had a little bit of rough experiences with living with friends. I've had I would say, some experiences that made me kind of hesitant to live with friends, because there was a time when I did, and when I left, this person didn't speak to me for 2 years. And that was really, really hard for me to kind of be able to trust and experience. And I was afraid of the ghosting. I was afraid of showing all parts of myself and than not being accepted. And so I was a little hesitant at first to stay with this friend, even though I really wanted to. And we've already been travel buddies. But honestly, I had a lot of fear around living with a friend because of some of these experiences. And it was the most healing thing for me. We got up, we had our own rhythm all of a sudden. It was like I was always there. It was like I had never not been there. And every day we switched between who was cooking breakfast and dinner. And for me, one of the biggest love languages that I love to give is cooking. I love to cook for those that I love. I love giving my food. My dad always taught me, I come from an Italian heritage, and my family's always taught me that sharing food is love. And that is a big love language that I give. And so it was just really beautiful. We were constantly, cooking for each other and sitting down and masterminding and talking about deep spiritual concepts and going into religion. And we were just going so deep into everything. And it was just like, I have chills thinking about it, because every morning and every night we were either masterminding or talking about deep spiritual concepts or talking about language differences and the power of language. And we went so deep, and I loved it so much. It was such a healing experience for me to really live with somebody and it bring us closer instead of it ripping us apart. And so that was a healing experience for me for sure. And not only did I get to experience this friendship, I had so many friends from around the world come to a conference in Amsterdam. So that's the reason why I came this time around. And I think was the reason why I had to wait till now. It was meant to be in Amsterdam. So this was a 2-week personal development conference. And I had friends from all over the world that I got to hug and I got to spend time with. And it felt like a vacation on steroids. Like I was learning personal development, I was learning, social media skills, business development. And then I was seeing my friends at night and we were hanging out and masterminding, but also just having pure, unadulterated fun. Like we had so much fun. I was so happy. It made my whole heart and soul to be able to hug these beautiful people that I haven't seen in years. I haven't seen this friend group since 2021. And so because everyone's from all over the world, it's hard to come together. So this conference, we were able to all come together and it was beautiful. And if you want to know the conference, just comment below and I'll send you the link. The next one will be in Estonia next year. Give you the link for that so that you can meet people from all over the world too. Now, I was having fun with my friends. And if you didn't see the first video of the second season, this season of my Digital Nomad series, I'm trying luxury spaces and seeing how that feels instead of trying to do budget traveling. Because I do believe if you feel like you can't afford to go, you can. You're just thinking about traveling versus living around the world, which is very different things. Now, these luxury spaces is still living around the world. And your girlie made a little bit of a mistake. And my mistake that I made was that when I last lived in Europe, I was studying in Italy and I was able to travel all over Europe. But at the time, the euro was pretty much 1-to-1 to the USD. And so I've never been in a space or on a trip where my dollar is less valuable than the currency that I'm there. And I did not really calculate as I was tapping my card those different currency exchanges. I was just like, okay, that's $15, great. Really, it was about 17 or 20. Like and that was every purchase. And by the end of the month, I was like, oh my God, how much money did I spend? So learn from my mistake. Really learn to calculate what the difference is when your dollar is less valuable than the currency that you're going to. Because I've always had it the opposite. I've always gone to places that my dollar was always more valuable or the same. So that's just something to look into and something to be cognizant of if you're if you're a US citizen coming to Europe, or if your currency is just less valuable than the currency that you're in. It's just something to take into mind. Not that it's not doable, but just don't do a mistake like mine when you're just tapping your card every 2 seconds, and by the end of the month, you're like, oh my God, how much money did I spend? So, financial planning wise, just, learn from my mistake. Honestly, though, I don't regret a dollar that I spent. I don't regret a dollar that I spent. I had so much fun. I mean, with my friends, the dinners, the dresses that I bought, everything was just the memories that I will hold forever. There was a time when I was with my friends and we were walking to go get dinner. I forget what we were doing. But as we're walking, all of a sudden, we just start dancing in the middle of the street. And we didn't even care where we were going. We just started dancing in the middle of the street. And we just stayed there for, 15, 20 minutes. We took a break from walking and just started dancing. And that just reminded me of every time we think we have to be in a destination, but it's really about enjoying the journey. And dancing in the middle of the street is one of the things that gives me the greatest joy. When I'll think back to Amsterdam, I'll think of the hugs and the dances and the smiles. So the conference was only 2 weeks. I say only because that's a very long conference, but the conference was 2 weeks. But after those 2 weeks, my friends left and I was still in Amsterdam because I wanted more time to explore Amsterdam. I had a feeling that the conference was going to take so much time that I actually wanted to explore Amsterdam itself because I felt a calling here. So I knew there was things that I needed to explore. And my friend, she has a dog. And so I told her, you know what? Go for a couple days and just go somewhere fun, just so that you can have a break. And I'll watch your dog for a couple days. So my friend also left for a couple of days. So now I'm alone in a country again. And I'm a bit of an introvert, so I really needed to recharge. People think I'm an extrovert, and I was socializing for 2 weeks straight, and it took a little bit of it. I just needed a break. And also, I can be a little bit of a hermit when I want to be. So I really intentionally have to go out of the house. And I know that sounds kind of crazy because I live in different countries, but that's because I kind of force myself and I always constantly push myself out of my comfort zone to get out of the house. And if I didn't push myself, I would be so content with just working online and chilling at home, and whoever's I'm living with, just chilling with them for a very long time. I am so content walking around the neighborhood, putting my feet in the grass, and I would just be content. If I didn't push myself to go do things and activities, even though I love it when I get there, it takes me a second to actually push myself out the door. I know that sounds crazy but it's because I push myself out of the door and out of the country. I also love doing all the things I'm working on so I can get sucked in. So during those 5 days, I knew that I could just reset, or I could push myself to do at least one thing for those couple of days that my friend left, the one that I was living with. And I had some calls at night, my client calls at night, so I needed to do it in the morning. And I walked her dog in the morning, and I only had a couple of hours in between then and having to do my client calls. And so I kept feeling this intuition that I had to go to the Straat Museum, which is a street art museum. Even though there was a museum very much closer, I just kept feeling like this intuitive magnetic pull that I had to go to the Straat Museum. And so it was an hour away, so it would be an hour there. I would only be able to spend an hour, and then I have to drive back and get the bus back for an hour. By the way, public transportation in Europe is so amazing, but that's another note. I felt like this calling, even though I would be able to spend more time in another museum. So I went to the Straat Museum. And if you're in Amsterdam, you need to go to the Straat Museum because it blew my socks off. I walked in and there was all the pieces of art were as big as an entire room wall, and it was extraordinary. The art there like just gave me chills, and I ended up spending 2 hours there because I moved one call just so I could just experience the place. But wow, it blew me away. What was really cool about the concept of this museum is that these are street artists, but what they have them do is they bring street artists from all over the world, and they have them stay in the museum and have them do a piece on one, like a huge wall canvas. And when I say like these pieces made you feel something, these pieces had so much depth, so much meaning, so much healing. I was enchanted. And I was so happy that I chose this museum, because looking at the other museums' photos, there was just no way. This was the museum that I was meant to go to. And I'm so, so grateful I had that time, and it opened up my heart and my mind. And like I said, when I push myself to go out the door, for me, it's actually, it's a push. Like I constantly have to push myself out the door into different situations, into different social situations. And I'm pretty extroverted when I'm there, but getting myself out is a little bit difficult because I really cherish my own energy. And it was worth it. It was so far worth it. And so even if you're in, your own home country or your own hometown or wherever you are, push yourself out the door to experience these places and things that make you uncomfortable, because it will always be worth it. And that's just something that I love doing, and I love continuously putting myself in places that I'm a little bit uncomfortable. Not only did I do the Straat Museum as well by myself, I went on a canal tour. If you know me, you know I love water, I love boats, I love seeing water sparkle. That's like one of my favorite things in life. My friend, then she came back after I was able to have my boat tour and museum tour. So we ended up having our own tourist day. And one of the things that we did is we went to the Windmill City. Now this is like old windmills from 1960s or 1600s. I didn't listen that well. It was either the 1600s or the 1960s. I'm not sure. But I know that it's one of the first places with windmills, and they are gorgeous. Nothing like the windmills today. Like, they're really beautiful. And they're also on the water. Surprise. And we had a boat tour, another boat tour where we were looking at the windmills. But once you step off the train in the Windmill City, the entire city smells like chocolate. And I love chocolate. I love chocolate. I smelt the air and I was like, wait a second. This entire town smells like chocolate. And not only did we do the fun boat tour, and it was a beautiful day. By the way, side note, the weather in Amsterdam is usually horrible. Like, it's usually super rainy, and it was rainy the first few days that I got here, which was what I immediately said, I can't live here forever, but I'm glad that I'm here now. My friend said, I don't know what you did, but you brought the sunshine, and it was really good weather for the month of August in the Netherlands, and I'm really, really grateful. So she says she's been here like 100 times, the Windmill City, and it's never been as nice of a day as it was that day. And she had never done the boat ride before because it had never been that nice. So we did the boat ride together for the first time, which was super fun, even though she's been there 100 times. We got to make our own hot chocolate. I don't eat sugar. I don't eat refined sugar. I haven't in 5 years. It was a part of my health journey. It's a part of listening to my body, and it's a part of keeping any inflammation down just to make sure that nothing ever can happen again. I've healed myself after 10 years of chronic illness, and I am really, really like a health nut, even though I don't think it's that crazy, but other people think it's wild. But one of the things that I love is chocolate, and so it can be sometimes really hard to find chocolate that doesn't have added sugar. So I was like, oh damn, I kind of want a hot chocolate. And what was so fun about this place was that they had make your own hot chocolate. So it was the cacao powder, which I do this a lot, by the way. I put cacao powder and I put oat milk, and that's like a dessert for me, like a hot chocolate with no sugar. And that's like what it was, is they had the oat milk and they had the cacao powder, and you could put your own sugar in there. So it was separate. Like I didn't have to put sugar in it. When I say I was so happy, it was one of the happiest days of my life that I got a hot chocolate in a place that smells like chocolate. And it's one of my favorite like go-to sweet things, even though it's not that sweet, but to me it feels sweet because I haven't had sugar in forever. And oh, I was so happy. I couldn't stop smiling. And we were checking out the shops and we had so much fun. And we were already getting pretty hungry, but we wanted to go to Rotterdam, which is another town in the Netherlands, or another city. And so we took the train, and the train was about an hour and a half away. We took the train, and it was a bit, we were a bit already hungry. But we were like, okay, it's gonna be better food there. So we took the train to Rotterdam, and the train, we were starting to get so hungry on the train. And when we finally got there, like we're trying to find food anywhere possible. And when we finally like sit down, we find like a place that says chicken. She can read Dutch, so it said chicken, and there was no English menu. We just said, "What's your special for today?" And the special was unlimited chicken. It was the perfect day. We were starving and we got unlimited chicken. It was just so perfect. And that was amazing. That entire day we looked at the different architecture in Rotterdam, and there's like it kind of feels like Hunger Game vibes. Very dystopian. It's odd, but it was very cool to see. And then my friends ended up coming back. Two friends ended up coming back because they were from Germany, so that we could do an open mic. Now, I wanted to do an open mic in pretty much every country that I'm going to, and so that it just helps me get over, it's just really good practice. And this open mic had a vibe. It was so much fun. Everyone who was going up was just like so amazing. There was a bunch of like hippie people, and people were going back and forth with the audience was super interactive. So I was super excited to get on stage. And they called me on stage at 11:11. And when I went on stage, most people had already left, and probably because it was supposed to end at 11, I believe, but they let me sign up really late to do the open mic. And I have a very unique performance. And I knew at this point, because at first it would have been perfect place to do it. Then the people that were left were like the older people, like older men. It wasn't really the vibe to do it, but I did it anyways because I really do believe in performing and trying out things in places where people may not want to hear it, because I think if you practice in front of people that don't want to hear it and they clearly don't like it, then you're going to be unstoppable. And I've been at a place where I have performed in over 100 different spaces and times that people loved it, and like they had such crazy transformations that I was doing it in places that people don't like it, or that it's not their vibe, or that feels weird to them, so that I could be unstoppable no matter where I am. I can just be my full authentic presentation, performance, and so that I can help the one person that it's going to be planting the seed for. Now, there was one woman as I was performing, actually two women that were watching me, and you can just tell something was shifting for them significantly. And I honestly was so proud of myself. And then I had a friend. I wanted to get my friend on stage because I'm always encouraging people to push outside of their comfort zone. And my friend, she ended up going on stage, and she doesn't sing, but we put on the list. I said I have a talk plus performance plus poem, like that was my vibe. And then hers, she was just gonna talk, and my original song. And the woman, the organizer, acknowledged that she was going to talk. She goes, oh, if you're going to do a talk, can you please like tell people to donate? And so she acknowledged already that she was going to talk. And then when my friend gets up on stage and she starts talking about, you know, masculine, feminine dynamics, the woman got super triggered. And she was like, make it quick. And my friend, by the way, like practiced a lot of courage to get on stage. And so she started to make her story a little bit short, but, you know, she was still holding her own and still telling the story. And then the woman got even more triggered about what she was talking about. You couldn't just tell because no one just does this. And she goes, this isn't the place to talk about this. Like get off stage, basically. And I'm sitting with my mouth wide open. I've never seen this before. I've never seen someone tell someone to get off stage. And I'm really proud of my friend. She had said, like, no, I'm gonna finish my story, you know. And she ended up, but again, the woman said again, like, get off stage. And she said, I'm gonna finish my story. And so she finished her story, and we left after that. But I couldn't believe I've hosted so many open mics, and I host, like, the ones that I host are so safe and so sacred and so loving. I've never seen that before in my life. And I've been to more open mics than I can, you know, even explain. And most of the time they're usually really safe. And I couldn't believe that that's what happened. So I'm really proud of my friend. I'm blown away by that happening, but this is why I'm even more, I'm more motivated to continue to creating these international safe space open mics where people really can mess up on stage. They can do all the things that they need to do, because I couldn't believe that was a reality of some people need a safety and a safe place to be able to start and to share what's on their heart. And if you shut them down, I can't even believe that. It's really important for there to be safe places when you first start sharing and performing, so that you can really hold your own when people don't like it. So on my last night with my friend, we ended up going to a karaoke night, because I was like, you know, I want to be able to just sing it out. And what was so fun is when we got there, we realized that it was kind of quiet. And so we thought, oh, this is going to be kind of weird. My friend was already, you know, hesitant on singing on stage. And then she was like, oh, it's 15 euros each. And we were like, okay, cool. Then she walks us to a private room. 15 euros for a private room. Oh my God, for 2 hours. And I've never done a private room karaoke before. I had chills the moment we started singing. We had so much fun. We literally sang for 2 hours straight. I can't even explain how much fun that room was, but it was magical. It was truly, we just sang our hearts out. We danced like kids. We did not care because nobody was watching. And the sound system, it was so much fun. And I'm so grateful. I told my friend at the beginning of the night, this has to be the best night ever. And I was just kind of joking. And we walked away, we're being like, that was the best night ever. And what was fun is we had a private room for 2. And so we both got to sing the whole night. And by the end of the night, my throat kind of hurt, I'm not going to lie. But it was so much fun. And it was just the perfect way to end the most perfect trip. This trip has been more than I possibly could have ever imagined. And I'm so grateful for it. I'm so grateful for so much of Amsterdam. And I'm excited to continue to share my stories of the travels that I'm going on. I wasn't able to film in Amsterdam because I was having too much fun. So now I am in Vienna, and I'll be doing a video at the end of this trip. But so far, the Canary Islands, Amsterdam, this trip has blown my mind. And continue to stay on the journey with me. Thank you for being here till the end. Thank you for listening to the story. And I want you to know that any calling on your heart, do it. And also push yourself a little bit out of your comfort zone, because it will always be worth it. Whether it's moving to another country, getting up on stage, whether it's sharing time with a friend, living with a friend when you've been hurt before. Get yourself out of your comfort zone because it will always be worth it. I am sending you so much love, and remember to be brave, to be bold, and to be who you're meant to be. Ciao.